Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Once again, thank you to my return visitors and my subscribers. So appreciate you. Today, special guest is Drew Pulliam. Drew is a Jonesboro, Arkansas native that now resides in Nashville. A singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, plays almost all the instruments on his latest album, Back of My Mind. I was told that the album had some bluesy elements, but it's folk music at its core in a non-traditional way. So we're going to talk about that a little bit with Drew. Back of My Mind is set to be released on September 12th on Ride Records. And Drew, it's great to have you, man.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, here's what I think I know. You grew up large church-going Christian family, homeschooled until high school. Grew up on a theater stage. Did a lot of theater. Mom was
Yes, sir.
local community theater, very involved. Um, Tell me a bit about your upbringing and how accurate that is, and when you moved to Nashville, and how'd what made you do that move?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, I grew up a larger family. I've got five siblings,
Wow.
and my mom she ran the local community theater in my hometown, um, and we didn't really have a babysitter ever. So a lot of the times we'd get done with school and we'd just go up there and kind of hang out with her while she was working, and she directed a lot of shows, and I think that's where I first kind of fell in love with storytelling, watching her tell these stories on stage. That and around the dinner table with my family, we'd eat dinner and they'd all tell their stories about their day, or my brother's latest girl squabble, stuff like that. And I'd kind of was kind of drawn to those stories. And then I was always acting and singing at the theater, but there was this grand piano that was in the lobby that I would kind of just bang on as a kid. I'm sure I drove the employees there at the theater crazy, playing on it all the time. Um, and that's where I first fell in love with instruments. Was actually the keys. Picked up the guitar when I was 14. Started writing songs.
Man,
Yeah, the
that's
rest is
pretty good.
history.
It's pretty great, and I can relate with that. I don't play anything, but seeing a grand piano is, I mean, instruments are just a beautiful thing. Like my son
Yeah,
plays, and I have these guitars and basses, and full double bass here and an electric bass, and it's just there's something about it. It's
your eyes are always kind of drawn to them,
yeah,
and then your ears are kind of drawn to them. But I find I don't know. Especially pianos. Pianos are just so interesting to look at. They're so intricate. They're really beautiful instruments.
yeah, they sure are, man. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Making a living in music can be very difficult.
Yes, it can.
What made you go to Nashville? Did you have a connection already? Did you just say, like in the 80s, I'm going to play music, I'm going to move to the LA Strip? That was the thing in the 80s where all that was happening.
Yeah,
Nashville's always been music city, especially for sessions and things like that, and
yeah.
country. So, did you have a connection? Did you have a dream in mind when you moved to Nashville, and when was that?
It's funny. I went to Delta State um, my first year of college to
Hmm.
be closer to Steve Azar. He's um, helping me write and produce at the time, and I moved there just kind of be closer to him so we could work more closely together and get access to the studios and everything, because you get free access when you're a student there. And I loved it there. It was amazing. And kind of throughout that process of making that record, I was like, I think I just want to jump right into the action and go to Nashville. And it was at the time, I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas,
Hmm.
and a lot of musicians and artists from Jonesboro, for whatever reason, just during that time were kind of migrating to Nashville. So I had some friends there, um, and was kind of like, hey, man, I hit one of my friends up that I actually went to high school with, grew up playing with, graduated high school with. I hit him up and was like, hey, man, I think I think I'm moving to Nashville. Any chance you could save me a room? And he was like, yeah, dude, come on. And so that's kind of how it happened. I ended up going to Dark Horse Institute over in Franklin, right outside of Nashville, for audio engineering, just because I wanted to continue some sort of further education after high school, and I was very interested in the engineering aspect of the music industry, and because there's so much to go in there when it comes to production.
Right.
Um, and I did that for about 6 months, and now I'm doing a lot of writing, um, and working on the next record too. I'm super excited about.
That is good news, man. That is good news. Everybody's got to absorb this one though, first.
Yeah,
So you got
right.
time. There's a
Oh yeah.
lot to take in on this record. But
Oh yeah.
I want to ask you. You know, you go to Delta State University. You have this love for music. You're going to play music. Do you have a plan B? Is there a is it full on? This is what I'm going to do. You know, I guess the engineering is kind of, you know,
Yeah,
the other
the
side of the
engineering
glass.
is in a way like in a way a plan B. You know, I've always been interested in that, and I think that in itself is like a really cool art. So I think the engineering is kind of the plan B aspect of it.
Yeah,
Um, but as of right now, I'm just really focused on plan A.
that's great, man. That's great. How long have you been? Well, how old? You're only 20.
20, yes sir. Yeah.
20 years old. It's just insane. It's just your talent is just immense. So
Oh,
ahead of your
thanks so
years.
much.
It's just amazing. How long have you been in Nashville now?
Probably about 9.5 months at this point.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds like you're doing well and you're in a beautiful place. There's no doubt about that.
Yes sir.
I know you wrote a lot or do write a lot with your sister, Carrie.
Yeah.
Uh, Tell me about Carrie. Is she have a career of her own? Is she on the record?
She's not on the record. Aside from her writing, she is a one of the most creative people I think I've ever met.
Yeah.
An extremely hard worker too. And she's a brilliant lyricist. So anytime I'm like just stuck on a song, like, oh man, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to take this. I'll take it to Carrie, and she's like, you should do this. You should take it in this direction. Try this out. And I love writing with her. She's just an absolute joy to write with. But yeah, she does her own. She owns a Pilates business.
Okay.
Yeah, Katizo Fitness. If anybody out there is looking for a Pilates yoga kind of instructor.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. You know, I was. It's good that you're still writing with her. Still writes on.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great. That's great. Um, your mother, head of the local community theater. How much do you think that stage experience helps with your songwriting? You know, I don't. You know, when you think about it in a technical sense, there's really not a connection to you know, song structure and acting maybe or anything like that, or even playing.
Yeah.
You know, songwriting's a whole different thing, but you seem to take in and absorb your surroundings and be influenced, and especially lyrically. um how much do you think that stage experience helps with your songwriting?
I think it's helped a lot, honestly. It's I feel like my writing is like very theatrical in a way.
Mhm.
Um I've had people tell me that they're like your lyrics are so like theatrical and it's also it's weirdly helped my songwriting process too, because like, you know, you're doing theater, you're doing like musicals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like I would dance in the shows that I was in, and a lot of the times whenever I'm writing, I'll be up like kind of dancing around the room as I'm writing to just kind of get loose, keep the ideas flowing, for better or for worse, because sometimes I'll be in co-writes like moving around a bunch, and the person I'm co-writing with is like, dude, can you chill, let's sit down for a second. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Um, but yeah, it's I think a lot of it is just like really helps whenever it comes to like how theatrical my music can get at times. It's
Mhm.
almost whenever I write, I'm thinking about the whole bigger picture sometimes, for better or for worse. Like I'll be writing and I'm like, oh, and then this instrument can come in, and this instrument can do this, and this instrument can do this, which again is for better or for worse, because some people that I'm co-writing with are like, you're moving too fast. You got to slow down. We just got to focus on the song right now. Um, but yeah, I think it's definitely had an impact on my writing, just in those ways.
Excellent, excellent. And I listened to your writing, and I don't really get a theater, and I know I've heard this comparison, this weird comparison, somebody to Meatloaf, which
Yeah,
blows my mind. I don't see it, but um, I feel like your music's stripped down, hence that folk thing. Um,
yeah,
it's simplified. It talks to you, the listener, when you listen to it. But I do get that piece of you. There's a dramatic piece
yeah,
of your soul in this stuff. It's even the happier, not as deep songs uh, are deep in their own way. If
yeah.
that makes any sense. So I really feel like I get a piece of Drew with each song, and that really draws me into this type of music because I'm not, it's not something I can sit with all the time. Folk music, unless I'm getting a piece of the artist, and I think that's a big deal in this genre, is to get the soul, the heart and the soul of the artist, and you do that. So that's the theatrical part, I guess, that we see. Uh,
Thank you so much, man.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty, and
Thank
at
you.
20 years old, uh, not a lot of life experience, no matter what you've gone through to this.
Yeah.
That's just not a very long time. But like the 16 going on 60, that is true. 20 going on 60. Um, it's really, old beyond your years. So that is pretty special in the writing. Um, the title track of the record, tremendous falsetto vocal. It's not something that we get throughout the album. Maybe Roses, I think, has a little
Yeah,
small thing.
it's kind of stuff here and there, but it's not really like a theme of the album by any means.
Yeah, and it's not your usual style,
Yeah.
to go into that high part like that, but you do it so beautifully. What a
Oh, thank you.
tremendous song. What made you go into that high register? And was there a thing about making that the lead track? Because that's what we hear as soon as we throw the album on, is that's the first track, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, was that a conscious decision to go to the higher part and make it the first song?
It's funny. I've always honestly been like kind of insecure in a way about my falsetto. And my mom was always like, you should do that more often. You should do the falsetto thing more often. And I was always just kind of afraid of it. And then I was writing that song with my sister Carrie, and it all just kind of almost fell out in one sitting. And I was trying to sing it in like my full voice,
Mhm.
and when we were writing it, Carrie was like, "Go higher," and I would try going higher, and she's like, "No, even higher." And I was like, "Okay," and she's like, "No, go a little higher." And I'm like, "Carrie, I can't go any higher." And she's like, "Go in your falsetto," and I was like, "Okay," and I did it. And for the first time, I remember that being the first time ever where it kind of just felt right, where I wasn't really afraid of it. I was like, you know what, maybe I could do something with this. And that's kind of how that came to be. And I feel like that song really felt like the title track more than anything, because it moves a lot. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Then you're in the chorus, and then you're back in the
Uh,
verse, and you're up, you're down. And so I felt like, and at the same time, it's still keeping that same message and that theme going. And I felt like it was kind of really a good kind of conveys the theme of the album as a whole in a sense, um, and keeps it interesting. You know, it's never the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's a tremendous vocal, tremendous,
Oh, thank you so much, man. That
really.
means really thank you so much.
Yeah, there'll be a link too, and everybody can check that out for sure. What a tremendous song. I took a few years of voice, and my instructor was very anti falsetto.
Really.
That's a no no. We don't go there. So does that fear come from a personal, liking it yourself, or instructors like that, like I had, where it was, that's a no no, don't go there. uh was it just you not liking your voice necessarily there?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was I like grew up in theater, and like kind of um, the more fuller voice technique. You know, you're doing all the Broadway songs where you're belting it out and
Yeah.
everything, and my falsetto always just felt kind of weaker to me. Um, Even though people would kind of tell me like, "Hey, go up in your falsetto," I'd be like, "It doesn't sound as strong. You know, it doesn't sound as powerful."
Right.
Um, and I think that's kind of why I was afraid of it for a long time.
Okay.
But then, you, me and Carrie, we got those lyrics down, and it felt like such a personal, kind of vulnerable song in a sense. Um, and I think that's why it kind of felt right going into that falsetto, because it does sound more kind of vulnerable in a way, kind of almost haunting too.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of how that came together.
yeah, it fits so well. Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, thank
For
you, Carrie.
sure, for sure. Let's talk about Steve Azar a little bit.
Yeah.
He's produced the record, puts it out on his record label, Ride Records. Yeah, he's taken you under his wing. He believes in you. Great for him. Great for us. To forward your
Oh
career,
yeah.
maybe. Um, Tell me about working with Steve. How much input he had on the songs themselves, maybe? Any co-writes on the record or anything like that?
Yeah, he Steve is absolutely amazing. He's one of the best people I think I've ever met. He's so encouraging and supportive, and has just really, like you said, taken me under his wing and just guided me through this whole thing. I mean, he's the one, he taught me how to write. Um,
Awesome.
and he's a really great producer, because there'll be times where I will he'll kind of have to talk me off the ledge a little bit. I'm like, I want to try this out. And he'll be like, "Nah, man, that's crazy. You should do this. You should do this." And in hindsight, I look back on those songs and I'm like, "Man, he is so right. I'm so glad we went with him." Um, he is always positive, even on the hard studio days when you're in there for so long,
Yeah.
and the ideas just aren't coming. He's always positive, and he's like, "All right, let's try this out. Let's do this. Let's do this." Um, he really is a joy to work with.
Man, that is it's so great. How involved is he with your writing? Is there co-writes and things like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we first started out like working together for the first two EPs, he was very very heavily involved in the writing process, because I was still kind of learning how to write, um, in some ways, and he was kind of offering me that guidance. And then a lot of this album though, this full length, um, I kind of wrote on my own or with my sister, and then would take to him whenever I'm like, "What's your input on this? What tweaks do you have to do this?" And then he'd kind of just take it from there in those final stages of either writing or recording, and uh, produce the hell out of it and take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to have somebody like that,
Oh
especially as a
yeah.
young artist. It's really very
Oh
fortunate.
yeah.
That's cool. Um, I notice on the record you have a trio of songs that seems to be grouped together very intentionally. They're in consecutive order. You have Lucy, Verona,
Hmm.
and Lula. all female names kind of thing.
Hmm.
There seems to be a real great vibe at this time in the record. And this record moves. It's got, like you say, it's not the same throughout. There's
Yeah.
really a lot of different elements that are really cool and texture in this music. Um, Lucy, a little reference to the Beatles. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds there. Kind of an Italian style nylon string texture and a tambourine.
Hmm.
Verona's got the cool fuzzy guitar thing in the midsection there.
Hmm.
And Lula, a little more of the foot tapping, typical acoustic thing that you do. Was there a specific intent, reason for that sequencing of these three songs?
You know, it's funny. Lucy actually didn't write it. That's the one song on the record I didn't write. There
Okay.
was some friends back in Jonesboro, Seven Hollows. They were this duo, um, music guy girl group, and I remember they had a really big influence on me growing up writing. Sorry, there's some cicadas going crazy. um, and I would go out to like these restaurants and watch them play, and every time I'd be like, play Lucy," because I just loved that song so much.
It is great.
And they'd kind of roll their eyes and be like, "All right, Drew, for the millionth time, sure, we'll play Lucy." Um, but I kind of went off to college, and I was like, "Man, I've always wanted to sing that song." And so I hit him up and was like, "Hey, are you ever gonna like record that song or do anything?" And they're like, "We don't really have any plans for it at the moment." And I was like, "Well, I'd love to cover that song." And they're like, "Yeah, go for it." So we put that one on there, and that one kind of it's kind of lighthearted and fun, you know. It's that kind of foot tappy song. Um,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
and then I kind of wanted, you know, like the back of my mind, you know, it's full up down, full of changes. Following up like with Verona, having being right next door to it. It's a
Hmm.
very intense song,
Yeah.
and it's very serious. And then Lula is kind of opposite from both of them. It's
Yeah.
very like kind of dark, but still smooth and relaxed and at peace. Um, and so that's kind of like, I guess, how that order came. Um, is because I kind of wanted to mimic the back of my mind with it being up and down and all over the place and kind of, um, you're over here, now you're over here, now you're down here, now you're up here.
Yeah.
Wanted to capture that with those three
And
in a
you
row.
did. I noticed that right away. Those are just it struck me because of they're all names.
Yeah,
That drew attention to it. But then I listened and I was like, there's an intent here. This has a lot of movement from song to song, and they kind of work together. They have this whole vibe. It's really, and sequencing. I'm an old guy, so sequencing. I remember listening to records front to back, noticing those peaks and valleys, and it was a
yeah.
journey. It was on a trip when I listened to a record. It was a vacation. And
Well,
this, yeah, go ahead.
thank you so much. I'm really glad you noticed that. That means a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you do a great job with it, of course, and sequencing means a lot to me as a listener, and I think a lot of listeners still, not as many now, but a lot do still value that sequence. So, I applaud you for doing that. It's great.
Thank you.
Um, Writing is a little like therapy for me. I get to work out my feelings in the songs, and they serve as snapshots of where I was in my life at that point in time. That's a quote from the press release from you. So, with that said, is there an experience or something that you've gone through that you've been hesitant to write about? Because this is like I say, when I listen to this, I get a piece of Drew. It's naked in front of the class kind of thing,
Yeah.
You're bearing your soul here, and
Yeah.
that can be a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, has there been an experience, something that you've gone through that you were hesitant about?
It's funny. Um I've kind of gotten this question before. Like, it's kind of in that realm of, do you write about like personal experiences? Um, and whenever I like set out to write a song or I'm writing a song about something, it's never really from a personal experience. It is, but I don't realize it. Like, I'll be writing a song like, oh, and then this person, like, this is kind of the story that I'm trying to tell. And then 6 months later, I'll think back on the time that I was going through when I wrote that song, and I'm like, wow, I was in a very similar place to what that song is about. And like, it didn't even occur to me that maybe that was what I was writing about. Come on, Drew.
That's
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
but it's funny how those things work, because it's like I don't intentionally write about myself, but then later on I realize, oh wait, I have been writing about it. Um, a lot of the songs kind of on this record are um, it's a breakup. It's kind of a breakup album in a way.
Yeah.
Um, and it conveys a lot of the kind of the struggles that I went through in a relationship, and the struggles that I went through after the relationship too.
Mhm.
Is, I guess, what I'm realizing a lot of this album is kind of about.
Yeah, yeah. And I applaud you again for writing like that, because it's sometimes it's difficult to put yourself out there. Yeah, and I can imagine that there's a lot of it. Maybe not a direct personal experience, but you're when you sing these. Um, it sounds like the voice of experience. It doesn't sound like somebody who's singing about something they don't know about. So yeah, it's very convincing. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
I
really.
I try to make it as much as the listener wants to relate to the songs as they can. I try to make them able to do that.
Yeah, you do for sure. Is there a song that sits a little closer to your heart on the record?
Oh man.
They're all your kids, right?
Yeah,
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 it's hard to pick a favorite,
it is
or
hard to pick a favorite.
one that Is there one that means a little more, maybe a little more personal?
I think Samson's song.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Um, it's 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 biblical literature. Is what that
Mhm.
song's about, and I think it's always just kind of resonated with me because it's such a true story. You see, you just see stuff like that happen a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Roses too is kind of a very personal song. They're all kind of personal in a way,
Mhm.
but I think those two,
It-
Too Many Too, the album closer.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's that I kind of wrote that at a very personal time. That one is one that I kind of intentionally wrote um, to kind of tell my story a little bit
Yeah.
and what I was going through at the time.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. You've seen stages, you know what they are. Yeah, a venue or an event, maybe that you've always dreamed of playing, stepping
Oh,
foot on.
the Ryman,
The Ryman, yeah,
the Ryman.
and you're right there. It's right
I
down the
know, I'm so
street, right?
close.
That's cool. I could definitely see you playing the Ryman for sure. Without that's just a matter of time, I think, for
Oh man,
sure.
thank you. I mean, hopefully one day.
Yeah, man, I would love to see it. That would be great. Do you have tour plans? Will you be making your way out to Chicagoland? Any tour plans? Not right now.
Not at the moment, but I think we're wanting to break into that sometime soon, and so I'm really excited.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see you play too. Really, I love what you're doing. Everybody can check it out, drewpulliam.com. There'll be links in the description. Drew, this has been great, man. I thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's I look forward to the future for you. Because you've got so much more in there. I can tell that, your heart and your soul are in this, and you have more life experience, so much more life experience ahead of you, and you're really pushing your parameters, making this thing work. So I look
That
forward
means
to
the
the
world.
future,
Thank you
man.
so much.
Drew, excellent. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care now.